republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stand for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Let's be seated. The first order of business is the roll call. I will first begin with the members here. Dennis, Ms. Kerman, here. Mr. Tagg,
Here.
Mr. Zworsky, here. I'm here, Ms. Lintak, and then on the line, I see Ms. Michelle. Yeah, Michelle's here. Who else? Is Senator's here, correct?
Yes.
And
Anna-
who else you got here?
Ann O'Gorick is here.
And, okay, anyone else?
Allie Doyle's here.
Allie? Michelle? Senator, Allie, and on the phone, correct? Okay,
Yes.
so that calls the roll. Thank you. Further order of business will be the approval of minutes from the May 26, 2023 regular meeting. I'll take a motion for approval.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. The next item of business, we're at our report from our Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Callaghan. So I was commenting that I love your dress. Yeah, it's you probably never see me wearing a dress like that because.
There's so many ways to take that, but thank you. Thank you. It's summertime, so let's be bright, right? Well, thank you, Madam Chair. And good morning, everyone. Good to see everyone here, also online. I'd like to acknowledge the following retired employees who recently passed away. Operators Williamson Dawson and Albert Sauter. Body repair person Robert Normandy. Automotive mechanic Charles Walters. Wade maintenance repair person Freddie Drivers. Garage foreman William Weva. I'd also like to acknowledge the passing of longtime transit rider and staunch advocate Jonathan Robeson. As head of the Transportation and Land Use Committee of the Oakland Community Council and Vice President of the Allegheny County Transit Council, Jonathan believed public transit had a critical role to play in environmental conversation, and as someone who in his later years used a wheelchair, the public transit provided freedom of mobility. Jonathan had been involved in the push for improving public transit in Pittsburgh for more than 50 years. He even worked to organize citizen forums for a PRT, bus rapid transit system linked downtown to Oakland, 4 years before formal planning for the project ever began. Jonathan fought for great accessibility, and even when he was critical of Port Authority, his heart was always in the right place. We are grateful for Jonathan's contributions to Pittsburgh, and will continue to honor his memory by continuing to improve access to public transit across our region. Now, may I please have a moment of silence for Mr. Robeson and our retired employees. Thank you. Last week, the American Public Transportation Association held its annual rail conference in Pittsburgh, bringing in almost 1,700 transit experts from all over the country and the continent. The David L. Lawrence Convention Center for 3 days of tours, panels, and discussion about the future of our industry. I want to thank our not just tremendous, but our amazing, dedicated, professional, charming, helpful. I feel like I'm giving out the scout folks up here, the scout walk. The fantastic folks from PRT who did so much work. We're getting folks all over Western Pennsylvania who had no clue where they were and who thought things were close because they could see them and didn't realize that we're a little different out here. Giving tours of the incline. In fact, under extreme personal circumstances, folks still coming into work after they had lost family members because they knew their family would want them to focus on being good hosts. To walking through the North Shore and then all the questions about how do we do this? How do we do that? How old is this? How long did this take? You really do what? There's a tunnel with trains and buses at the same time. Mind blowing when you're not from here. We could not have done it without everybody here. They wanted to give our staff. Thank you does not feel like enough, but it was your chance to shine. It was your chance to show everybody that not just that Pittsburgh's back in the game, but that we never left the game. Maybe the rest of the country forgot that we had it really good. We never forgot that. We had an amazing place for folks to come visit and live, and every single person here should be proud of the work you did. In fact, my biggest achievement in my 5.5 years was being able to be at that table and see how proud our folks were helping download it or answer questions about where something went, or just to see the pride in having a really clean car house, even though that car house is older than I am. To have good service when we forget so often that there's a catenary bump or there's this. We got a good system, you guys. We have an amazing system with amazing people. And 80,000 Taylor Swift fans saw that over the weekend. So I'm proud of you, but I'm not surprised by how great you did. Thank you, folks. I could brag on our staff forever, so I'm going to move on. We would like to thank APTA and the CEO Paul Scutalis of APTA for giving us a chance to show off, to host a really great conference in our city. During the conference, we also hosted an event with the Federal Transit Administration. Deputy Administrator Veronica Vanderpool giving us a ceremonial check for about $150 million that symbolizes our full funding grant agreement with the FTA for our downtown Oakland PRT, which is now PRTX University Line. Construction will begin later this year. And finally, I want to recognize everyone who was working this weekend when I was on vacation. 85,000 people, 85,000 trips were on our light rail system. Folks were packed in like sardines. They were happy. They got to see Taylor Swift with all their matching outfits, and the platforms were cleared within 2 hours after the event, which is a Herculean task when you consider how many people go to these events and buy us all the sign of the North Shore. It's easier to take us than it is to drive yourself. Kudos all around to everyone who supported this, from obviously our hardworking operators, our off-board fare collectors, our route supervisors, our dispatchers, our customer service folks, our transit police, and everybody that I'm forgetting to get to. But kudos all around for a really fantastic week, for a really fantastic agency. I'm not surprised, but I'm always happy to see this kind of work and everyone come together. Also, in the month of June, we supported our Pride Parade and the Juneteenth Parade. It's been a busy month, so everyone take off. Madam Chair, unless there's any other questions or comments, I conclude my remarks.
Thank you very much. And I'd just like to say, Mr. Robinson, I knew him for decades, and I know some of my colleagues here too, so I am very sorry to hear these cuts. Very good advocate. Thank you. Moving on, the report of Performance and Oversight Committee. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Good morning, everyone. The Performance Oversight Committee met last week, and I have 6 resolutions for your consideration. The committee first reviewed 3 procurement items and determined the bids to be in accordance with PRT's procurement policies and procedures, the prices fair and reasonable, the bidders to be responsible, and the bids responsible. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends the award of bids listed in the resolution for the total amount of $21,304,567.22. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Do I have a motion to approve? So moved. Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
The second resolution is to authorize PRT to award a construction contract for the Security System Improvements Project. This project will complete security improvements at the Collier, East Liberty, Ross, and West Mifflin garages, Manchester Main Shop, South Hills Junction, South Hills Village, Pitt Tower, the Allegheny, North Side, and Gateway stations, the North Shore Connector, and the Mount Lebanon tunnels. To perform the work for the contract, bid documents were prepared and publicly advertised, and 2 bids were received. It is recommended that the contract be awarded to the low responsive bidder, Merit Electrical Group Incorporated, in the amount of $2,584,800, subject to completing all pre-award requirements. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next resolution authorizes PRT to extend and amend an agreement for facility management services for the South Hills Village parking garage. PRT entered into an agreement with Parkway Parking and Pennsylvania Incorporated in August 2020 to provide these services in the not to exceed amount of $672,000. The agreement with Parkway currently expires on July 31st, 2023. As Parkway has performed the contract services in a satisfactory and efficient manner, the Performance Oversight Committee recommends extending the term of the agreement for one additional year through July 31st, 2024, and increasing the total authorized not to exceed amount of the agreement to $792,000. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Thank you. May I entertain a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
The next resolution authorizes PRT to extend agreements with a pool of law firms to provide legal services. In September 2014, the board authorized PRT to enter into agreements with a pool of firms in the designated fields of law listed on Exhibit A to the resolution. As legal services are critical to representing PRT in various types of litigation and related important legal matters, and law firms continue to provide services in a satisfactory manner, the Performance Oversight Committee recommends extending the agreements with the firms listed on Exhibit A up to 6 additional months through December 31st, 2023. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
The next resolution seeks authorization to extend an agreement for real estate consulting services. These services include expert advice and technical support for PRT for all aspects of its real estate interests. In September 2017, PRT's board authorized the award of an agreement to Interstate Acquisition Services, a division of Century Engineering, to provide these services on an as-needed basis through task-specific work orders. Following prior extensions, the agreement is currently set to expire on June 30th, 2023, and has a current authorized total not to exceed amount of $1,862,000. As these services are critical to PRT's continued oversight of its real estate assets, and Century has continued to provide these services in a satisfactory manner, the Performance Oversight Committee recommends extending the term of the agreement up to 6 additional months through December 31st, 2023, and with no increase in the previously authorized total not to exceed amount. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll take that as a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The final resolution seeks authorization to adopt and implement the fiscal year 2024-25 internal audit work plan and to amend internal audit department charter. In 2007, the board adopted an internal audit department charter as a statement of policy and expressed commitment to provide financial and operational oversight to PRT. In accordance with the charter, PRT's internal audit document has conducted various audits and oversight activities over the past several years pursuant to board-approved 18-month internal audit work plans. In order to continue these activities, PRT has formulated a proposed 18-month audit work plan for implementation during the fiscal year 24-25. The Performance Oversight Committee recommends the adoption of the fiscal year 24-25 work plan attached to this resolution as Exhibit A. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Sounded like I was saying second. I apologize. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes my report. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. So next, we're going to move on to the report of the Planning and Stakeholders Relations Committee. Mr. Chair?
For the chair and fellow board members and stakeholders. The Planning and Stakeholders Relations Committee stopped meeting last week. However, I do have a few items to report. The Allegheny County Transit Council met on June 21st. Section Manager of Planning Derek Dalton updated the council on the building on the East Busway project. Manager of Corridor Planning Seth Davis provided an update on the Homestead to McKeesport project. The next scheduled meeting is on July 26th. The second item is the Committee for Accessible Transportation met on June 7th. Chief Development and Financial Officer David Huffinger provided the committee with an overview of how accessibility features were incorporated into the bus rapid transit project. The next scheduled meeting is on August 3rd. One of the comments I wanted to make was about the loss of John Robeson, because I remember when I got involved with the Allegheny County Transit Council, it was one of the folks that I was one of my mentors on that council. So I was sorry to see that Johnson had passed. Unless there are any other questions, Chair, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, Margie. All right, the next report will be for the Finance Committee.
Good morning, Madam Vice Chair and fellow board members. The Finance Committee met last week, and I have two resolutions for your consideration. Staff presented the final FY 2024 operating and capital budgets. It was reported that the final fiscal year 2024 operating budget increased by $1.09 million or 0.2% from the preliminary fiscal year 2024 operating budget presented in May. The final fiscal year 2024 operating budget totaled $535,359,584. The following changes were reported between the May and June operating budgets. Revenues increased by $3.3 million due to adjustments in passenger revenues and contract service revenue based on increased April and May actual revenues. Wages and salaries increased by $793,000, predominantly due to an increase in non-operator wages. Employee benefits increased by $265,000, predominantly due to an adjustment in sick, vacation, and holiday pay and FICA taxes. Materials and supplies were up by $386,000, primarily due to an adjustment in the projected float price of diesel fuel. Purchase services increased by $115,000 due to an increase in work done by outside contractors. Utilities were up $130,000 due to a small adjustment in electricity and natural gas expense. Access expense was adjusted downward by $610,000. Finally, federal stimulus used to balance a budget decreased by $2.08 million. It was also reported that the final fiscal year capital budget was unchanged from the May preliminary capital budget of $195,185,421. This resolution would adopt balanced fiscal year 2024 operating and capital budgets as required by law. In addition, local match certifications are included to assure the required county match will be provided for both the operating and capital budgets. These local match certifications are a requirement of the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. May I have a motion to approve? Second? Second. Okay, any discussion? All those approved signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Thank you. The second resolution seeks authorization to establish second-year budget with TransDev Services, Inc. In April 2022, PRT's board authorized the award of a 5-year agreement with TransDev Services, Inc. to provide paratransit services. The agreement specifies that a not-to-exceed budget will be established by the board for each fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends a not-to-exceed amount for the agreement's second fiscal year, covering the period July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, in the total amount of $2,503,000. My fellow members, I respectfully request the board approve this resolution.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Lastly, the May financial reports were presented to the committee. It was reported that total operating income for the month of May was $479,854 over budget, primarily due to higher interest income on cash reserves, access and shared ride revenue, and other revenue. Passenger revenue for the month was slightly below budget due to lower fare box collections, monthly pass sales, and stored value revenue. Total operating income for FY 2023 is $1.42 million under budget for the fiscal year due to lower passenger revenue, which is partially offset by higher returns in interest income. Total operating expenses in May were $2.35 million under budget due to lower salary and wages and materials and supplies. Total operating expenses fiscal year to date continues to trend below budget by $42.85 million, with $22.72 million of this variance due to lower wages, salaries, and employee benefits related to vacant positions. Total subsidy per month and fiscal year was $64.1 million and $59.1 million above budget, respectively, due to higher CARES and ARPA invoicing. Finally, it was reported that PRT ended the month of May with approximately $279.5 million in operating reserves. Madam Vice Chair, unless there are any other questions or comments, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your good work, you and your team, staff for the budget. That's a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the report of the Technology Committee, that will be me. I have 2 items to present today. The Technology Committee met on June 15th, and again, there are 2 resolutions for consideration. The committee first reviewed bids for Microsoft licensing and laptop equipment in the estimated amount of $2,211,652.98. The committee determined the bids to be in accordance with the PRT's procurement policies and procedures, and the prices to be fair and reasonable. My fellow members, I request that the board approve this resolution. So with that, I'll ask for a motion to approve. Second. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The second item is a resolution that will amend and extend an existing agreement for non-fare box equipment, which includes ticket vending machines and back office software. This is the final 1-year extension on this contract and will expire in June 30th of 2024. The Technology Committee recommends amending this agreement with Steichen Bachman and increasing the total not to exceed amount to $14,356,068. With that, I request the board approve this resolution. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Second, Mr. Tay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. That does conclude my report from the Technology Committee. Now, we're going to move on to new business. The chair, of course, he has sent his apology. He is not here today. He is out of town, so I'm not only taking over as the chair of the meeting, but also reporting for him out of the Governance Committee to which he is chair. So I do have one item of business. Of new business today is a resolution to adopt and amend the policy as known as presentation by members of the public to the Port Authority of Allegheny County's board. In 1986, PRT board adopted a policy entitled Presentation of Members of the Public to the Port Authority's Allegheny County to the Port Authority of Allegheny County's board. Sorry. The policy was last amended on January 22nd, 2010. The policy contains, among other things, the methods for members of the public to register to address the board and the rules governing public presentation. The COVID-19 pandemic, the advancement of modern communication technologies, and other factors have, over time, impacted the manner in which PRT board members conduct its meetings, including the ways which it receives public comment. Therefore, the board deemed it appropriate to instruct its governance committee to review and recommend revisions to the policy. The Governance Committee has performed its review and has made recommendations to amend the policy, including changes to how the board's public meetings will be conducted, ways to maintain and or improve accessibility by the public, the registration timing and process for presenters, the process of public comment, and the rules for maintaining order and decorum. The resolution before us is to adopt to make effective this amendment of the policy, and a copy of the policy is attached to this resolution as Exhibit A. Now I'll ask for a motion to approve to make these amendment effective and known as the presentation policy by members of the public. So Port Authority Board of Allegheny County Board. Do I have a motion to approve?
So approved.
Second. Discussion? With that, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. So this will be publicized on the website, replacing the old policy. We're very pleased. So hopefully it'll provide additional avenues and access for members of the public to participate in our meetings, which is what we want to say. Thank you very much, Kathy, and your team for the great work on this. Next item up is the public comment. The first will be Ralph Williams, President of the Allegheny County Transit Council. Mr. Williams, are you here? Mr. Williams? Ralph, are you on? May not be on. Let me go to the next one. Bernard Cohen. For public comment. Bernard Cohen. One more time. For public comment, Bernard Cohen. Hearing he's not available, and I don't see Mr. Williams has popped up on the meeting as yet. We'll move on to public comment. The next regular meeting is scheduled for July 28th. That's a Friday, 2023. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Okay, thank you everyone for attending today. We appreciate it. Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
You guys want to do better than that.